بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters, we are on the series of wisdom of Luqman alayhi salam بإذن ta'ala, and we are looking at the issue of Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy al Munkar, enjoining good and forbidding evil. My brothers and sisters, the tendency of the human being, and this is a very natural thing, which is that all people seek approval. As one of my friends was a psychologist, and not a psychiatrist, a psychologist, he says shopping for happiness. And he says that this is a eminently bad thing, shopping for happiness, because you are putting your happiness in the hands of somebody else. So shopping for happiness in its extreme form is to do things for the pleasure of others, seeking their pleasure, seeking their approval, and you are happy when you get it and you are unhappy when you don't get it. And basically, it means that you are like a puppet in somebody else's hands, and they can make you dance to their tune by expressing approval or withholding approval. Now, this is people like this are really people who are emotionally very immature, and in another form of psychology, in transactional analysis, we call it the child ego, where a person is like a child. He is constantly seeking approval from others for whatever he does. My brothers and sisters, I remind myself and you that Islam is a deen of action. Islam is not a bunch of beliefs. Islam is not a bunch of rules, do's and don'ts, and it doesn't end with that. Islam is the name of a practice. If somebody wants to benefit from Islam, then they need to practice Islam. They need to believe and they need to live by the code of Islam. Only then will they benefit from Islam. Anybody can know about Islam. There's nothing that prevents a person from studying Islam. But the difference is, as I have mentioned many times before, the difference is like the difference between studying judo and practicing judo. To study judo, where did it start? The history of judo, who was the originator, who were the great exponents of the art, great judo fights, whatnot. All of this is possible to read. It's possible to study. It is possible to, have symposia and seminars and discussions and dialogue and whatnot. But believe me, none of that will help you in a street fight. Nothing, none of that knowledge, zero, will help you in a street fight. What will help you in a street fight is if you know how to apply judo. And how do you learn to apply judo? By falling 10,000 times on the tatami, in the dojo, falling 10,000 times on the floor. Learning how to fall begins with that, learning how to fall, and then learning the throws and so on and so forth, and practicing that daily, every single day, without a break, and doing that joyfully, because that's the only way that you are going to do anything on a regular basis. Nobody can do something on a regular basis which they don't really like, which they don't really enjoy. They can only do that if they enjoy it and if they are doing it joyfully. And they can only do it joyfully and enjoy it when they are sure about and when they know the benefit that they are going to get from doing that thing. Right? These are related. The benefit of the thing comes from consistent practice, Consistent practice can only be done if you enjoy doing it, right? High quality, consistent practice can only be done if you enjoy doing it, and you will enjoy doing it only if you realize the benefit of what you are doing. This is the exact situation with Islam. Who benefits from Islam? The one who practices, not the one who knows about it. Now you might say, well, should I not know? Of course you should know. How else will you practice unless you know? But if it stops with knowing, right? I learn Arabic language, I learn to read the Quran, I learn the meaning of what I'm reading, I learn the different books of fiqh and the masail, I do all of that, but at the end of the day, I do not practice Islam, then I will not benefit from Islam. Just as I mentioned to you, and my apologies for repeating, just as learning all about Judo and not doing it, not learning how to actually apply it, will not benefit us, just like the other one will not benefit us. So this is the thing that I would like to I'd like to give you some time to reflect and think about that. Now, in the process of applying Islam in our lives, as I mentioned to you, we need to apply Islam. And in the process of applying Islam in our lives is the very, very important amr, very, very important matter of amar bil maruf wa nahi anil munkar. Enjoining good, promoting good, supporting good, and nahi anil munkar, which is preventing evil. Now, in the Khilafah of, and of course, for that we have the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, who narrated from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enjoined this upon you, that you forbid, you promote good and you forbid evil, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Imran, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna anil munkari wa tu'minuna billah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the ayah, which means you are the best of people and you have been selected for the benefit of people, and what do? You enjoin good and you forbid evil and you have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that it is incumbent upon you that you enjoin good and you forbid evil. He said, if you see any of you, and this is where the hadith begins, he said, if any of you sees anything evil happening, he said, stop it with your hand. Meaning, take action against that and stop that evil from happening. And he said that if you see any evil happening, stop it with your hand. If you cannot do that, فَإِلَّمْ تَسْتَطِعْ, if you are unable to do that, then speak out against it. He says, stop it with your tongue. And if you are still, even if you are so powerless that you are not even able to do that, then he said, hate it in your heart. Right? So don't participate in it. Definitely don't support it. Hate it in your heart. Stay away from it. Do not participate in it. Now, this is, and then he said, he ended this the statement, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that this one, meaning the last one, that you do not stop the evil with your hand, you do not even speak out against it, but you just hold it in your heart as something that is hated and despised. He said, this is a sign of the weakness of your iman. So effectively, what is he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, recommending to us? What is he telling us to do? He's telling us to stop evil with our hand and or to speak out against it. These are the two options. The Muslim does not have an option of remaining silent as a witness. If he does that, for whatever reason, and I do appreciate that there might be some reasons, Rasulullah said that this is a sign of the weakness of your heart, because the reason why you would remain silent, I can only think of one, which is that you fear harm to yourself from the one who is committing that evil. And if you are fearing harm from a creature, because the one who's committing the evil is a creature, right? Is a creature, is a human being. If you fear harm from the human being, then what does that tell you about your ta'alluq with Allah, about your connection with Allah? What does that tell you about your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What does that tell you about what do you think about Allah? Right? How much of do you really believe that la nafi wa la dharra illallah, that nobody can benefit and nobody can harm except Allah? Do you really believe this? This is a test. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us, because believe me, whatever is happening is the degree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you look at the world, and as we look at the world seems to be becoming, going from bad to worse. Somebody tweeted and said that I have no hope. I have lost all hope in 2021. May Allah have mercy on us. Statements like this are, in Islam, this statement is haram. Because we as Muslims, we do not ever lose hope. Because our hope is connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if somebody says, I have lost hope, then effectively you are saying that even Allah can't do anything. Na'uz billah. How do you lose hope? So we never lose hope. We never despair. We never lose hope. As I said, for two reasons. First and foremost, we never lose hope and we never despair, because we know that only Allah can do it and we are connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, there is always hope. Number two is because this world and whatever is happening in it, whether it is the most beautiful time of your life or it is the worst time of your life, this is going to end. This will end. There is no doubt about this. It ends for the one who has everything, and it ends for the one who has nothing, for everyone. So what is there to lose hope about? We never lose hope, please. Sadness is haram. There is no sadness. What sadness? If you did something wrong, make istighfar. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. If you harmed somebody, go make apologies. Go make up to them. And if somebody comes to you and apologizes, forgive them. Don't hold it in your heart. Forgive them. Alas, whatever happened, happened. Leave it to them. Leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So what is the sadness? No sadness, no despair, no depression, no losing of hope. So I said to this person said, I have lost hope in 2021. I said, you have lost hope in 2021 because you were not alive in 1228. In 1258. Right? You were not alive in 1258. You lost hope in 2021 because you were not alive in 1948. You lost hope in 2021 because you were not alive in 1930. You lost hope in 2021 because you were not alive in 1917. Go look up the things that I am referring to there. Imagine that you were a person in Baghdad with Hulegu's army surrounding and knowing that there is only one way this is going to end. What would be your situation? You would not be sitting out sending tweets on the computer. Whatever was the equivalent of that in 1258. Right? Yet, Islam today, alhamdulillah, is stronger than it was in 1258. The number of Muslims in the world is far, far, far higher and bigger than the number of Muslims in 1258. So what is there to lose hope? As far as individual is concerned, will I live or die? Let me give you the good news. You will die. I will die. There's no I or, there's no or involved. Everybody dies. Hulegu died. The Abbasi Khalifa also died. All those who Hulegu killed died, and Hulegu himself died. The issue is, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the day of judgment, all the men, women and children, the innocent people that Hulegu slaughtered, where will they be on the day of judgment? And where will the great Mongol ruler, Hulegu Khan, where will he be on the day of judgment? Yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? Total no-brainer. My brothers and sisters, Islam came to benefit us. And what is the benefit? Is to understand and to see Islam through the eyes, the lenses of Iman. That is the benefit of Islam. So think about it in that context. We're talking about Amr bil Maruf and Nahi al Munkar, enjoining good and forbidding evil. Now, in the Khilafah of Abdul Malik bin Marwan, on the day of Eid, you know the sequence of the khutbah and the salah during Eid and during Jummah, right? The format is the same, but the sequence is different. In Jummah, we have the khutbah first, followed by the salah. And in the Eidain, we have the salah first, followed by the khutbah. Now, Abdul Malik bin Marwan decided to change that. Because if you are a ruler who people don't really like, then people don't want to listen to your khutbah. So what Abdul Malik bin Marwan did was, instead of having the khutbah of Eid after the salah, he decided to do the khutbah of Eid before salah. Now, why did he do that? Because he knew that people, once they finish Salatul Eid, they will go away. They will not stay there. So he wanted to force them to stay. And like in Jummah, I mean, whether you like the khutbah or not, it is happening, and after that only is the Jummah Salah. So you sit there and you listen to the khutbah or you endure it. This is what Abdul Malik bin Marwan did. He changed the sequence of it. So when he started to deliver the khutbah before the Eid Salah, there was a man, some ordinary human being. May Allah bless him and Allah reward him. The awliya of Allah are unknown except to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He stood up and he said to the Khalifa, he said, what you are doing is against the Sunnah. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not do this. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed the Eid Salah first and then he delivered the khutbah. So this man stood up alone by himself and he said that what you are doing is against the Sunnah. Abdul Malik bin Marwan, the arrogance of the ruler, he said that Sunnah is not applicable anymore. The man sat down. He didn't argue with him, he didn't fight with him, he didn't say anything. He just sat down. He did not even leave and walk away, he just sat down. Now Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, who was present at the time, and he witnessed this event, he said that man fulfilled his responsibility. Right? Now, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu is the narrator of this hadith on this topic, and so therefore he is the best person to bear witness for that man. He said the man has fulfilled his responsibility. So here is a man who tried to stop the evil, because to break the sunnah is evil, by his tongue. He spoke out. He exposed himself to danger, because we are talking about a king who is mutlaqul anan, a king who is completely thinks that he is free from obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Abu Zayd al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, he mentioned this this khutbah, and he mentioned that this man, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him, he stood up and he spoke in the presence of the Khalifa of Banu Umayyah, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, and he sat down. Now, my brothers and sisters, this shows us how the Sahaba understood the whole issue of Amar bil Maruf wa Nahy al Munkar. They did not see it as an optional thing, nice to do. If you do it, that's good. If you don't do it, that's okay. No, they didn't see it. They saw it as part of the deen, as an extremely important part of the deen, as an absolute pillar of the deen, that it should be done and it must not be neglected. And whatever be the price to pay for standing for good and for forbidding evil, this price must be paid. My brothers and sisters, this is one of the most important of Islamic duties and the noblest. And this is the task of the Anbiya alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it and He said, Rusulam mubashirina wa muntirina li'alla yakuna linnasi ala Allahi hujjatun ba'da rusul wa kana Allahu azizan hakima in Surah An-Nisa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, messengers as the bearers of good news as well as of warning, in order that mankind should have no plea against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after the coming of the messengers. It is a well-known sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not punish anybody who has not been warned. It doesn't just come and suddenly hit you in the neck. Allah does not punish anyone, individual or community, unless they have been warned. Number one. Number two, as long as there are warners, as long as the Nabi is present among those people, as long as the warner is there among the people, the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not come. Allah mentioned this also. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Rasulullah that, O my Nabi, I will not punish them as long as you are with them. As long as you are within them. And I will not punish them as long as they keep on seeking forgiveness. وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said two things. I will not punish them as long as you are among them, you are with them. And I will not punish as long as they keep seeking forgiveness. So this is one of the great dalail, if anybody wants a dalil about seeking forgiveness, that we should continuously seek forgiveness, because this is safety. Istighfar removes evil. Istighfar saves us from calamity. Istighfar saves us from the punishments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Istighfar eases the trials that we are faced with and which are given to us. Today we are in the middle of this COVID thing. We have experienced it for the last 1 year, and now they say that this COVID has mutated, and there's a new strain which spreads faster. I don't know if that is more deadly or less deadly or whatever, but it spreads faster. And so right now, as I speak to you, Saudi Arabia, the UK, they've all closed their borders. All flights are suspended. Most European countries, India and other countries have suspended flights to the UK. Right? So all of this has happened. And so 2021, which is coming ahead in a couple of weeks, inshallah, bidnillahi ta'ala, looks like a year which will face us with some more trials. It won't become less. It looks like it will remain. It looks like maybe it will be more. The vaccine, we were waiting for this vaccine, and a lot of people thought, oh my God, this is fantastic. Once the vaccine comes, it's like magic, everything is gone, we can go back to our old way of life. No, you can't. The vaccine is here, it is being administered. There are lots of questions around it in terms of side effects, allergies, the effect of it, and so on and so forth, as well as what exactly does this vaccine do? Does it mean that you are now immune to the infection? Does it mean that you now cannot give the infection to somebody else? Because ideally this is what you would want. That I can't get it and I can't give it. But no. If you take the vaccine, it does not mean that you cannot be infected, And it does not mean that you will not be a carrier, that you cannot give the infection to somebody else. So, what does it mean? It means that the chances of you getting infected are less. The Pfizer vaccine is supposed to have a 95% effectiveness. I always have a good laugh when I hear or when I read these percentages with respect uh, to medical facts, because whether it's 95% or 99% or 9%, the guy who gets it, he is in that 5%. So even if it's 99%, but I'm the only one, I got it. As far as I'm concerned, it's 100%. Right? So anyway, for whatever it is worth, you say, okay, 95% chances that you will get it are reduced to that extent. Can this 95% be actually measured specifically with respect to yourself? If you end up getting it, can you say that, I took the vaccine, I still got COVID. Now let's go and put this on some meter which tells me, did I get it despite being 95% protected? Or maybe in my case, I was not 95% protected. I was only 94% protected, so I got it. I mean, is there something? No, there's not. There's not. So these are all terms. I mean, this is ways of helping you understand. I'm not bad talking or denigrating anybody. I'm saying, well, how else would you express or explain to somebody who says, what is the chance of my getting COVID after taking the vaccine? If you wanted to explain to them that it's not a 100% thing, there is a variance. What do you say? So we say, well, okay, it's 95%. Now you understand whichever way you like. The point being that despite all that it means is that 95% chances, so your chances of getting COVID are reduced. But does it mean you won't get it? No, it doesn't mean that. You can still get it. You can still be in that 5%. Does it mean you can't give it to anybody else? No, of course not. You can still be a carrier. So you might say, well, why take the vaccine? Well, I mean, at least the 95% immunity you will have if you want to believe that, and if that is, if you are, especially if you are in a high risk job, if you are meeting people and so on and so forth, then I recommend, and I strongly recommend that you take the vaccine, because to the extent that you can protect yourself, I think that is a good thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. Alhamdulillah, it has no haram ingredients and so on and so forth. So there's no Islamically, there's no problem with taking the vaccine. So I think you should take it. But be very clear in your mind. You're not taking it. The vaccine won't save your life. The vaccine does not mean you are 100% protected, and the vaccine does not mean that now you can throw away your mask and you don't have to wash your hands. You can walk around, the way you used to do. No. None of that. All those precautions, the mask, the washing in the hands, the distancing from people, not going out unnecessarily, staying out of all kinds of gatherings, not visiting people, all of this still applies and must be respected, even though you took the vaccine. So the point I'm making is that there's no question of losing hope and whatnot. We just face life looking through the lens of Iman. And what is the lens of Iman? The lens of Iman is that as long as you keep on making istighfar, as long as you keep seeking the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. Nothing to be afraid of, nothing to despair, because as I keep saying all the time to myself and to anybody else, death will come anyway. One day everybody dies. Those of you who lost your grandparents, did they die of COVID? No. But did they die? Yes. What about your great grandparents? Did they die of COVID? No. But did they die? Yes. And so on and so on and so on. In the last 3 weeks, I lost 3 friends of mine, 3 very dear friends of mine, over 30 years of friendship. None of them died of COVID. 2 had a massive heart attack, and 1 died of a brain tumor. Nothing to do with COVID, but they died. My brothers and sisters, Amar bil Maruf wa Nahy anil Munkar is the way to do 2 things. 1, to clean up our environment. Remember, if somebody thinks that they can swim in a filthy lake and remain clean, then they are living in a make believe world. It doesn't work like that. That does not happen. If you want to remain clean, if you are a fish, if you are living in the water, if you are living in the lake, you have nowhere else to go. You can't say, forget this lake, I am gone from here, I am going to go live, on dry land somewhere, but you are a fish. There's no dry land for you. This is the water. The water is where you live. So in that case, you say, I want to remain clean. How can I remain clean? By ensuring that the water is clean. Because if the water is dirty, then I cannot remain clean. I will get dirty. I will get dirty. There's no way that I am going to remain clean if the water is dirty. And I'm giving you the example of the fish for a very good reason, which is that how do fish breathe? They breathe through their gills, meaning they take the water inside and there is oxygen exchange in their gills from the water. So the water is inside you and you are in the water as well. That's exactly the state of our society. That's exactly the state of our culture, our values. You take it as you want, but that is the actual state. The state is that we are in it and that is in us. Now, how do you remain clean? How do you ensure that your inside is clean? How do you ensure that your outside is clean? There is only one way, which is clean the act, clean the environment, clean the water. If you are swimming in a pure lake, no danger, alhamdulillah. The water you are breathing, the water that's going into your gills, the water that is sustaining you is clean, and you are clean, and you are in the clean environment, so you are clean outside, inside and outside. How do we as human beings ensure that we remain clean? How do we ensure that our hearts are free from hatred, from greed, from jealousy, from all kinds of negativity? How do we ensure that our eyes and ears are free and clean from looking at or listening to anything which is haram? How do we ensure that our lives are lived in a way where we do not indulge in anything which is haram? And remember, haram is not a matter of just haram and halal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reward and punishment. It's a matter of yourself. A person who's indulging in something which is prohibited is harming himself. A person who's stealing is harming himself or herself. A person who's lying and cheating is harming himself or herself. A person whose whole life is based on ghiba, on backbiting, on slandering, on talking evil about other people, this person is harming themselves. It's nothing to do with anybody else. It's you. What is Islam saying? Islam is saying, don't do that. Don't do that. Clean up your act. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that as long as you keep making istighfar and as long as you warn other people and you warn yourself, meaning that you live by that and you so demonstrate it by your own actions and you also warn other people, as long as you're doing these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. Harm will not come to you. Even the Anbiya alayhimus salam, on whose people eventually, after years and years and years of their effort, those people did not turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Instead, they tried to kill their Nabi. They turned away from the Nabi. They threw the Nabi out of their society. They inflicted all kinds of punishments and tortures on the Nabi. Eventually, when the punishment of Allah came, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the Nabi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the Nabi and those who believed with the Nabi. Allah saved them. Allah did not allow them to perish along with the people who were the evildoers. Same rules apply. Inshallah al-Mustan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ensure that you come to no harm as long as you follow the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are those rules? Amar bil maruf, nahi anil munkar. Enjoin good, forbid evil. How do you enjoin good? By living by that. By practicing good. How do I promote speaking the truth? By speaking truth myself. How do I promote not slandering, not backbiting? By not slandering, not backbiting myself. And if I see it happening, then I tell them to stop. And if they won't stop, I get up and walk out of there. I don't care who is in that room. That is the way to stop it. If I see ostentatious spending, all the spending that is done in weddings and so on and so forth, and birthdays and whatnot, if I see these actions, what do? Amar bil Maruf Nahi Anil Munkar. First, I talk to those people and I draw their attention to the fact that what they are doing is bad, that what they are doing is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the people who do those things ikhwanu shayateen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said they are the innal mubaddirina kanu ikhwana shayateen. The spendthrifts, the ostentatious spenders, truly they are the brothers of shaitan. So you talk to them, you explain to them, you tell them, look, what you're doing is so bad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called it this. So stay away. And if they don't do that, what do? You stay away. You move away. You refuse to deal with that. You refuse to go to that wedding no matter who is getting married. Now this is where we many times we break up, because we say, oh, but after all, this was my brother, it was my sister, it was my brother's son or daughter, sister, son or daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the decline of the Bani Israel happened when one among them would do something which is prohibited, one among them would do something which Allah had prohibited. At that time, the knowledgeable people among them would warn that person and say, look, what you are doing is wrong. Don't do it. Stop doing it. Now, until this point, everything is fine. Then what would happen, and this is where we need to look at ourselves. Rasulullah said, however, that person doing that evil would not desist, would not stop. They would continue with that evil. And at that time, these people who warned him or her in the beginning will continue to associate with them, will continue to accept their invitation, will continue to invite them to their houses, will not stop meeting them, will not, in extreme cases, sever relationships with them, will not refuse to attend their party or wedding or whatever. They would not do that. And the reason they did not do that, when they were asked, they would say, well, after all, he's from my family, she's from my family, my clan, my community, my this, my that. Rasulullah said that is when their decline started, because they gave tarjih, they gave greater importance to their connection with that person than their connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Nabi alayhi salam sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When you consider a human being, whoever that might be, to be more important than Allah, then you are in trouble. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extolled and promoted obedience to parents above everything else. Yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if they invite you, or if they order you, or if they try to compel you to join partners with Allah, if they try to force you to do something which Allah has prohibited, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, La tuti'huma, do not obey them. Now Allah is telling us, do not obey your parents. Who are the parents? For whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, obey them, lower the wing of kindness to them, be respectful to them, and so on and so forth. But there is a limit, there is a boundary. Do all of this, alhamdulillah, no problem, including to parents who may not even be Muslim, including to parents who may themselves be doing something wrong. Allah did not give us the authority to say, if they are doing wrong, they are not telling you anything. If they are doing wrong, then you can disobey them. No, Allah didn't say that. Even if they are doing wrong, still be good to them, still be nice to them, still be kind to them. But if they tell you, or they compel you, or they try to blackmail you, or emotionally blackmail you, or they try to force you in any way to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to join partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then disobey them. Do not obey them. This is the meaning of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the meaning of Amar bil Maruf wa Nahy anil Munkar. My brothers and sisters, I remind you and myself that one day we will stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no doubt about this. One day we will stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on that day, we will know the true value of what we did. Let us not be caught unawares, because Allah did not surprise us. Allah told us everything. Let us follow what we have been told. Let us follow the beautiful sunnah of Rasulullah. Let us ensure that we practice Islam in our lives and that we invite others to Islam. وصلى الله على نبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.